predictions. Let's make some changes into it. Even our constitution requires amendments. Agile doesn't say that you don't do any planning, just come over and do anything. No, it says let's be more interactive. Let's involve people, and anything which is better, let's include it. That is what Agile says. And Agile doesn't say that PMP or any other practice does not follow any kind of documentation, or rather they follow full documentation. No, they also do the documentation, they also do the planning, they also do the interactive discussions. But what Agile says is that let's have it more. The frequency of interactive discussions is more, because the more involvement of people is there, the best possible solution you can deliver to the customer. So if I have a plan to deliver the project in 2 years, and by people's involvement I can make sure it is delivered in 1.5 years, I'm saving 6 months span of time. Rather than sticking to it, no sir, my plan says I have to deliver it by June, I'll deliver it in June only. It's nothing like that. If something can be improved, let's improvise upon it.
Lot of things. Okay. The first part, if you have planned something for 2 years and if you are delivering 6 months earlier, that PMP doesn't say that don't deliver it. You have to deliver it as per your schedule. No, you can deliver it earlier. One part. Second thing, actually there are a lot of things that he said. Okay, now let me get back to these things one by one. In Agile, it says that the documentation or whatever has to be done, it is decided by the team. There are no hardcore rules which specify that what tools to be used and what not to be used. For example, if you go in scheduling, what it says, 50%, 90% estimation. And depending on those values, you find out the estimation. What PMP says, you have analogous estimation, you have parametric estimation, you have different PERT analysis. Okay, you have these 3 types of estimation, and depending on those estimations, then you take a call. The main point is over here is, like for example, you have a sprint of 2 weeks, 9 days to 15 days or 20 days, whatever time you decide. You have a very small team size. A team size that is of say 9 people or 20 people maximum. Okay. What type of scheduling you are going to do for those 20 people for 2 weeks? Say I have 9 people team. What type of scheduling should I do? Like for 2 weeks is how much? 10 days? For 10 days what? For 3 days he is going to do this work, 3 days he is going to do this work, 3 days he is going to do this work. Okay. Now that Scrum Master or whoever that person who is managing that show, does he know that what he is going to deliver, what he has to deliver after 2.5 months or after 3 months, whether whatever I am developing now is going to fit actually with that particular module or not? That will depend at that stage. When we encounter that problem, we decide at that stage. Okay. Whereas in PMP, what happens is that in project management, what happens? First, at higher level, you define everything, whatever you are going to do. You break down into various WBS, that is work breakdown structures. Then you plan activities on that. Once you plan those activities, you define various sequence for those activities. 1, 2, 3, 4. These are the sequence in which I am going to follow these activities. You do the duration estimation and you put your schedule and you put your resources on that. There are various tools, critical path and critical chain, and there are various tools on which you do the estimation. And then you come across that, okay, this is the path that I am going to follow. That doesn't mean that if the technology changes, I am not going to accept the change. Very good. Then there's a change control board for that, who's going to take a call on that. If the change control board, after analyzing the impact and everything, say that, okay, let's go ahead with this, I can't say, no, I don't want to do this. We are equally open. We are equally open for changes. If Agile says that we are going to accept change every day, very good, you can keep on accepting change every day. But the point is that why that change is coming at first place? Your analysis was not correct. Haven't you involved proper stakeholders to take a call on this? Whatever you are asking, I am going to deliver this. Tomorrow, please don't change that. If you change that, the impact is yours. You have to bear the cost of that impact. If they are accountable to that, those changes won't happen every day. Changes will happen. You can't stop changes because that's the only constant in this world. Okay, but then we are open for that change. We do the impact analysis, and depending on that impact analysis, whether it is on time, cost, whatever, and quality, you take a call and then you proceed further. There are tools available for various sorts of variance analysis, there are tools which do performance index. You work on those things, try to keep on tuning those indexes. Whereas in this situation, it's hardly 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, suppose if you suddenly realize after 5, 5 days or 6 days, 2 weeks I'm taking to the maximum probably. That's on an average the maximum time of a sprint. Okay. Now in 2 weeks, suddenly after 5 days, you realize that things are getting out of control. How many days you have to control everything? Only 5 days. So you ask your team, boss, work late night, make sure that you finish these things. The team is always burdened. And that's what I have seen. Mostly in agile type of work, people are always burdened with work. What is the reason? Think about it. That's the only reason, because you don't follow any process. 2 years down, say not 2 years, I would say 4 months or 5th month down the line, what user gets is that he knows that after every probably quarter week, 15 days or 1 month, I'm going to get a deliverable. I'm going to get a working solution. So he's very happy. He keeps on pressurizing you. Deliver me more, deliver me more. And you keep on taking because you don't have any justification to give as such. You don't have any benchmarks prepared by yourself saying that, okay, this particular work requires so much of efficiency effort. This effort, these are our baselines, and on these baselines to complete that particular work, we need so much of time, which actually we don't have today. How many of you over here actually use Agile in your companies, please? Only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Only 5. And how many of you use proper project management? Lot of people. Okay. So for those 5 people who use Agile, please ask. I don't need your answer, but it's a fact because I interact with so many people. The Agile people always work in pressure. No?
It's not the case. If you want to refute it later, we will refute
it.
But
but that's my example because one of my colleagues is sitting there.
It's not actually. No, yes, we will refute it.
We will get from that. Okay. But the point is that
we will have question answer.
Yeah. Okay. So these people are always like pressurized from customer side that delivers this, delivers that, and we can't cross question that because we don't have benchmarks in place. Since we don't have benchmarks, there's always a problem. There's always a debate with client. What can be done? What cannot be done? Okay. Now, taking ahead this discussion further. As one of the manifestos says that projects are built around motivated individuals who should be trusted. Okay, that's somewhat ethical, one part. Second thing, you yourself are creating sort of bias in your team. If a person cannot be trusted, work around it, find out what is the problem, and then come up with a strategy, give him a training if required, enhance his skills. Apply whatever motivational factors and theories, whatever are there, and check out what can be done so that he becomes a trusted person, he performs properly. But the moment your principle says that, agenda says that, we are not going to work with people who are not trusted, that's something unethical, totally. Okay? Then it says that with continuous attention to excellence and good design. Now, I want to build a spaceship. So what I do? I start with small components. I start assembling those components. And at the end I realize that instead of making a spaceship, I have made up a submarine model. Why? Because we never thought of big thing. We always thought of small products. We started assembling them, putting them together. And whatever, if the technology changes, we also change. We don't care what happens in the previous product. Whatever delivers that we have given 2 years back or 1 year back, we don't check those things. What impact it's going to have. Whereas in case of PMP, a proper planning is done from start to end for every stage. Every stage is put on paper that what will be the input, what will be the output, what is expected from it. A schedule is prepared, resources are assigned. What type of resources are required? A strategy is put in place. That may happen 6 months down the line, no issues. That doesn't mean that we are not open for change again. 6 months down the line, something changes, we are there. But a basic plan is always there. Now, if you go in any other certification also, whether it's ITR or any other, they also talk about same things, strategies, design. Initially, they are important. Don't skip those phases.
Thank you. He has brought up very interesting points, and I'm happy that this discussion is landing up into something which was the objective of this forum. the voting mechanism which he used, that how many use PMP and how many use Agile, I don't believe that that is the right approach to come to a conclusion. Reason is, it is not like that less number of people using Agile methodology, so it concludes that Agile is not a good methodology. It is quite possible that people are not aware what Agile methodology is.
Can I interrupt for a second? For a second.
No, please, let me complete. I didn't interrupt it. Let's follow this rule. Number one. Number two, he said that change management is very important and very prominent in PMP. He said that his team in PMP knows what has to be done if they are following a methodology. He said that everyone, not only the team but every other stakeholders involved in PMP, we all agree to it, and I said in the beginning, we all agree that, and even I agree, that traditional project management practices are very good. But what I am trying to put over my point here is, Agile also has a framework. It is not something which is like some people are working in some or the other way, some people are working in some other approach, their own mechanism and bringing out the results. Right? There is a proper mechanism which is followed in Agile. For example, they follow the planning, they prepare a plan, but the changes in plan are very well welcome on a dynamic basis. Why? Because they believe in something which is known as early release. When we talk about early release, then it means that if we are able to bring in more productivity, bring in more resources to a project and give the early release to the product or to the services which we have, which we have agreed to the customer, it would be good for him. Agile believes in measurement methodology. It believes in running task features, which ensures that the tasks which are defined for a project for its completion are actually being carried upon, taken care and improvised as and when required. Agile focuses upon feedback and client involvement. If you see these three pillars of Agile or these three dimensions of Agile, it talks about in all the three directions how we can include more people, more feedback and more improvements. It doesn't say that, I am doing something without understanding what is going on, yet he's doing something without being in sync with me. Agile says, let's come together and wherever there is scope of improvement, let's do it. For example, if we are implementing, he mentioned, like ITIL and all that. Yes, ITIL is a good framework and I am process consultant of ITIL. I know it works very good. If we are implementing two processes, incident management and change management, and we know that these two processes are very well in sync with each other. They have an understanding with each other and are interdependent. If I involve the incident management team, the change and the problem management team, and also the stakeholders with regular discussions and ask their feedback, is the process design which we are following appropriate? Are you finding it good? If you need any improvement, any suggestions on your side, if he says no, then being a consultant, I can justify my thoughts. And if he's saying something which is very reasonable, being a consultant, my job is to accept that thought. So I am not saying in terms of Agile that follow Agile as if do anything whatever you want to. Let's come together and let's do the brainstorming on a regular basis. It is not like that it is not done in PMP. It is not like that change management is, if I implement change management and configuration management database or asset management without involving PMP, it will work. No, I'm not saying that. It does the initial planning, but at the same point of time, if we include Agile methodology, that will have more impact as far as dynamic changes are concerned. The industry is dynamic. Technology, a process will not be implemented without a tool. A configuration management database is of no use if it is not integrated with event management tools like PPP and PEM. It is of no use if we don't have good discovery tools in the market, ADDM, SCCM. It is of no use if we don't have a proper console wherein that process, according to that process, whatever CIs are captured, are put in place. But yes, what Agile says that let's be more dynamic in adapting to new changes in the industry, which traditional methods actually fail in to do so. So, apart from bringing in more improvements, it's not like that the improvements is brought up by somebody who is not actually having the authority, but there is a proper mechanism of doing that. And the most important part which I mentioned is the feedback of the customer and how the cost involved in the project is divided into products, partners, returns and everything. A proper graphical presentation is made of in that. If I would have got a whiteboard and a marker, I would have explained that. So